Yo, what's up, guys? We are back. Not only back on the podcast, but we are back in Vegas. We just got done with an amazing trip to Northern Nevada to go to the city that I love, that I think now you love, Reno, Nevada.
I do. The biggest little city in the world.
And listen, guys, you know, we're on this hustle shit, right? We're on this hustle gang stuff. And sometimes shit's going to slide through the cracks. We don't have a guest today. And that's, you know, not by design, but it happens. So we're just going to dive in, talk about some shit that we have going on, kind of talk about our Reno trip, some things we have coming up. We're going to keep it short and sweet today, but we're just going to be driving. Yeah, and we're going to smoke some weed while doing it.
Yeah, we are.
Because we just got out of a car. We legit just got out of a car. That was an 8-hour trip that should have taken 6 hours. Unfortunate to a detour because of an earthquake that happened like 3 months ago in Tonopah, and then a car accident. So the road to Vegas from Reno was a little rough, but we made it here, and we're still on the winning streak, JC.
Yes, we are on a winning streak. It's, you know, it's one of the cool things in the cannabis industry, and you know, if you live in Vegas, it seems like everybody, you know, if you're thriving in the industry and you're really working and hustling, you get to take that trip up to Northern Nevada, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And you know, that's where you went to college. That's where you lived for 7 years, and you know, you really kind of got into. That's where you started your marketing career out there, right?
100%.
You started some of your the first brands that you started to run with, and one that looks like we're going to pick back up. Right?
It's getting pretty interesting.
It's going to be pretty interesting. So, I mean, let's take it back in time. So it's like you're 19 years old. You come up, you know, what are you going to college?
Yeah. So you want to hear the story behind it? I feel like I've told the story maybe 100 times.
So the Reno as fuck story. How did it start? How old were you?
Cool.
And why did it happen?
So I'm 19 years old. It's my second semester of my freshman year of college. Not to slam on the table, sorry, Rick. And I was working at this t-shirt store called Big Frog Custom T-Shirts and More in South Reno. Me and this other guy named Tyson Schroeder were the first employees there. We opened the store, like just kind of like the way that you open a bunch of nightclubs down here.
Got it.
And one day after work, there's just a bunch of bullshit that was happening at work. So he's like, "Yo, come over. Let's just have a beer, relax." And I was young at that time, so you know everything's, you know, when you're younger, especially even now for me, everything's always an issue. Like everything's the end of the world, or everything's the best thing that's ever happened, right? There's no in between. So I think as you get older, you recognize, no, everything's cool, man. Like sometimes shit's gonna be bad, sometimes shit's gonna be good, but just stay positive for the most part. Anyways, he saw that I was stressing out, and he's like, "Yo, just come over to my house. Let's have a beer. Let's chill out." So I go over there, and it's like the end of January. So in Reno, it starts snowing in the end of January, and it snowed like a couple days before. And we're sitting in his backyard, and there's a street called College that he lived on. He lived at the bottom of College, and so College is this big, windy street right near the university. And we're in the backyard just bullshitting, drinking a beer, smoking a joint, just like how we are now. And in the distance, we hear the rattling of like wheels on the asphalt, right? And going fast. You're like, oh shit. So we both look up, and in the distance we see this girl. And so mind you, it's January, it's cold as shit. It's like 20 degrees outside, and the sun's just setting too, so it's getting real cold. So we see it in the distance. As she comes up, we see her, she's wearing a tank top, short shorts, Vans, tattooed head to toe, gauges, Beats, sunglasses, backpack on, cigarette in mouth, shredding down the hill on a longboard. She passes us by. Tyson turns to me and says, "That's Reno as fuck." And I was like, "That's a company," and that's how I birthed.
Nice.
And then from there, it kind of turned into, okay, what can we do? So the first idea was stickers. Like you can't. So the biggest thing about the word fuck, you can't. Just like cannabis, you can't buy Facebook ads. You can't buy any majority of advertising. I think the word "fuck" might have more restrictions than the word cannabis. That's why I think it was so easy for me to move into cannabis marketing.
So let me stop you right here, because this is a great example of sometimes like you get a great idea, or you start a business, and you think you got it all figured out, right? You plan it out, and a lot of times the thing about entrepreneurship is when you start, usually you're starting on a journey where you've never been to before, right?
And that was my first time ever starting a company.
And then so the first thing that smacks you in the mouth, boom! It's the things that you don't know.
Of course.
But you thought you did. You know, what do you say? You don't know what you don't know,
yeah,
right?
You don't know what you don't know.
So that's the first thing that starts to hit you, right? Is the word fuck, right? And you're realizing, fuck, this is a really cool company. I like to say the word. It sums up the community of Reno.
100%.
And now I'm going to start marketing it, and now I'm like, oh shit. It has the fuck word in it.
Yeah, and
right?
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize you couldn't. I just thought, freedom of speech, you could do whatever you want, and that's not the case. And not only was that a deterrent, but I had family members, friends being like, "Bro, you're never gonna get a fucking job if you start this company. Like, people are gonna see this on your resume forever. No one's gonna be able to want to hire you. You should never fucking do this. Like, why would you even think about doing this? Like, why would you put your future at risk by doing this? And all I could hear in my head was just like, fucking send it. Like, that's all I could hear. Is like, hey, I'll do this. Thank God my parents are like both very supportive and really don't care what I do. They were like, dude, just go for it. Just go for it. Go have fun. And so that's what I did. I went and had fun with it. So we started by just printing stickers, making the website, selling merch, and I just, I was a freshman in college. I was in a fraternity, luckily, and I felt like I know a lot of people there, and I was just handing out stickers like crazy. And for like the first 6 months, so much hate, bro. So many people talk shit. Some people like, this brand's fucking dumb. You're never gonna be able to do anything with this. Just talking shit. And so I think that really gave me like a lot of salt and pepper seasoning of like, okay, if you're gonna start something, people are gonna talk shit regardless when you first start it, no matter what the fuck that is. That could be a restaurant, could be a Reno as fuck brand, could be a culture and cannabis company.
It's definitely part of the process.
It has to be.
I mean, it's like, and this is where people get caught up, right? And so this is why this is so important, because you continue to push on, right, through because the first thing that you're going to encounter when you start something that's new, that's been placed on your heart, and you're like, I'm gonna send it. The first thing that you're gonna get is nobody's gonna believe in you.
Of course.
Right? And a lot of times that's your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, right? Because they're all ingrained in living under those negative core beliefs that you're raising. So if you can't get past that, you got some issues, right?
100%.
But I'll give you a secret right here. So a lot of times when you get the most pushback from some of those people, and they're like, oh, that is the most fucked up thing, that will never work, then that is the thing that will most likely in fact work the most, right? And
100%.
Once you can get past that, some of those judgments, right, those are the first things. So then what happened?
So I hand out like stickers like crazy. So for 6 months, kind of rough. After that, it starts catching on. So I go into my sophomore year, and that was kind of like, not like I want to call my breakout year, but that was the year in high school I was not super outgoing towards my junior, senior year, and then freshman year I kind of was like in the background. And then sophomore year I kind of took off, was meeting a lot more people. I joined the student government. I was doing a bunch of extracurricular activities, which if everyone knows what that means. And so I just got to meet a lot of people. And as I was doing that, I just had a packs of Reno's fuck stickers on me, so I was handing out to everybody. And so you start going to the library, and I start seeing people with stickers I don't even fucking know. And that's when I was like, oh shit, this is like gonna start becoming a thing now. And as it going, then I see people with T-shirts. So people people I don't know buying T-shirts. People are buying stickers I don't know. And then started evolving to the point where it's like, okay, let's have a direction with this. And so Tyson, fortunately, had been in the music scene for a long time in Reno. He's like, bro, let's throw an event. And so I was like, yes, that's a great idea. And I threw the event when I was 20, ironically. And I don't think anyone ever knew this, but I wasn't 21, and I went into a 21 and over bar throwing these events. No one really ever questioned me either. But yeah, we threw that first event, and it was like, after that, it just kind of just exploded. And then we got the licensing deal with Provision, and it looks like we might get another deal here pretty soon.
It does look like
another deal here pretty soon. So it's just exciting because I had to take a break. I had to take a stand back from Reno as fuck for a minute, and the main reason why, and sometimes this is going to happen too in your business, right? You get it to this peak, and then you're like, fuck, I don't know what to do. And sometimes the universe is like, yo, leave this here where it is. Go do what you need to do, which I'm so thankful I did. I'm so thankful Cole Marcus, who I started the Cannabis Convention with, approached me about that. I got involved in that, which inevitably meant, I met you, which has enhanced my skills tenfold. I feel a lot more confident too about all the things I can do now. And so, especially with the team that we have, right? I feel like our team is the best team in Nevada, hands down. I don't think we could put our team against anybody in the state, and we're gonna win.
Yeah,
and that's not on some cocky shit. That's just on, I know that for a fact.
Right, and I know that we're a force to be reckoned with too, because I've been doing it for so long. It's a system, right? The content that we create, the things that we do on Instagram and the videos, and it's done for a reason, right? It's top of funnel. It's attraction over promotion, right? And that's why, it just works. But it's interesting. I think when you were kind of on this path of creating the movement, right? And that's really what you're doing. It's like this kind of wavy type of movement. And, I think, you were 19, and it wasn't like you were trying to start this business and make money to pay your bills, right? You were just kind of like building it as you go, right? But I don't think you really realized the community that you were building, right?
I had no clue.
And so you were kind of making all the right steps, it seemed like, to kind of create that framework that fosters the community of the brand, right? So you started with the stickers, right? you know, and then the T-shirts, right? And you go through the phases of, you know, people don't believe in you, right? Then you go to the haters, right? And then you see people participating in your brand that's not just people that you know, right? It's other people that you don't know, right? This is the general progression of you're onto something, right? But then you had to kind of step back and
yeah. And you know, and for me it was kind of like not disappointing, but I've always known I was going to come back to it, right?
But now you're working on a team where like we live and die by this framework, right?
And the movement, the idea of, you know, the reason why I started Reno as fuck is because when I came there I was like, bro, there's a bunch of fucking doers here. There's cats that are just, they don't give a fuck. Like they're going to wake up at 5 a.m. They're going to hit their yoga class. They're going to grab their fucking coffee at their local coffee spot. They're going to go to their dope 9 to 5 doing whatever the fuck they is. And then they're going to hit their side gig for like 2 to 3 hours. And then they're going to go out to that dope concert that night, stay up to about 1 or 2 a.m. and wake up again the next day at 5 a.m. And I just remember like processing that, being like, yo, like I've never really seen this before, right? And that's just because I was younger, but it's just something different in that water there, and I think you felt that too while we were there. And so that movement when I met you was like, yo, this is exactly what I wanted to do anyways, right? And so it's so like culture and cannabis was like, it's essentially Reno as fuck 2.0 for me, right? And, you know, you created this community which I didn't even, you know, recognize at the time what I was doing, right? And it just kind of came natural to me, and I think that's why we were attracted to each other, right? Because it comes natural to you as well. And so yeah, man, and then you know, fast forward, it's been on and off, and I think you know, we've been kind of talking about it for a while now, like what, you know, you asked me like what my plans are with it, and I kind of told I wasn't 100% sure because I have so much other stuff going on right now between culture and cannabis and a couple of other endeavors, and but you got to check out Reno.
Yeah.
And you got to feel the vibes there.
Right.
And I think you now understand what I mean.
Yeah. And
with that whole city.
And I mean, you know, with all due respect, I'm a little bit older, right? So I have like,
of course.
And maybe it's not even age, right? It's just a different point of view, right?
Oh, and so, no, I think experience definitely helps.
And I've been, you know, I'm experienced with the building the community, the branding, right? And building all that, and I see it, right? And I see it there, and I was in a very similar place when I met you, right? Kind of on the edge, right? You know, needing some bandwidth to take things to the next level, and I think that's really kind of maybe some of the support that you needed, and that's why you had to kind of step away, but now we're getting the opportunity to come back to it, right? And that's the power in that.
It's massive, and you know, there's nothing set in stone yet, but we got some massive stuff in the works, and I think the whole state of Nevada needs to be on watch because JC, Tony, Chuck, Leilani, Dean, and the whole culture and cannabis team is striking deals.
Yeah, we're striking deals. That's all we did this week was get up there to Reno and strike deals.
I mean, you know, and just, how do you feel about Reno? Like, what was your overall thesis of Reno? I don't think I ever got to ask you this, even on the car ride back, because we were essentially working the whole time.
Reno's interesting, right? So it's like Vegas in the fact that you have kind of like two different types of people. You have kind of like the locals that have been there forever, and then you have kind of like this other layer of people on top of that move there to make moves and kind of participate in the culture of Reno and all that stuff. And so, you know, it creates this kind of like this bustling vibe, right? This kind of vibe like that Vegas kind of used to feel like, right? It feels like, you know, old downtown, but it feels like something's coming, right? It feels like it's building, and there's a lot of excitement in there. It's a really vibey city, and you know, and coffee and beer. I mean, it's
what else could you need? And that's literally like the you know, the two official drinks of Reno. It's like you drink coffee until you're able to drink beer, essentially. Right. And so I think. And I think what's so crazy is even during COVID, like the energy's still very much there.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I was nervous that we weren't going to be able to get the full experience, and we really did. And we got to have the full experience through Culture is Food, which is our new foodie show. And I know we've talked about it here on the podcast, but I mean, man, how did you think about the food scene down there?
And the food scene's great. It's great. And, you know, we're talking about Culture is Food, and it's just a perfect example of us taking kind of like the knowledge that we know and we've learned through building the brands through Reno's fucking culture and cannabis, and inserting that knowledge and executing that with culture and food right away.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you didn't have to go through the 19-year-old. No. Like, you know, it's like we took that framework of content marketing, we plugged it into Culture is Food, and it's been crazy. Yeah, we dove into the foodie scene in downtown Reno.
Yeah, and I believe that I believe that people are watching too.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you do some things, and we talk about this all the time, and I want to make sure this is like very much heard, especially for all young entrepreneurs. Don't be emotional about ideas. You cannot be emotional about ideas. The reason why is because sometimes your idea might be the best fucking idea in your head. You might have the next Apple in your head, but when you try to execute it and it doesn't work well, it's like people get so stuck to that idea that they're not willing to, like, oh shit, during that process I realized that this might be a better avenue. And I think that kind of happened with us with Culture is Food, because it was kind of like we got hit with COVID. We're like, oh, okay, that's kind of stops all our events, kind of stops all our things. We were still doing fine with cannabis sales, but I think it was kind of like, what do we do now?
Right.
Because everything was kind of maintaining itself for the most part. And I think it was our third partner, Chuck, who was like, we got to make content that's not cannabis related, right? You got to be able to get into the framework, because once again, Facebook and Instagram are going to fuck you when it comes to cannabis.
When it comes to cannabis ads, 100%.
And so I think it's been crazy, because I feel like we've really been able to put the foot on the gas when it comes to Culture is Food.
Yeah, and if you watch our brand and if you enjoy our products, like on that level, enjoy our events. But if you also just kind of like enjoy our style of marketing, the content style of marketing, the top of funnel, like, check into Culture is Food. It's really what we're executing there right out the gate. And there's purpose around it, right? And so those are the kind of get nerdy about the business of it and the content marketing. It's like, we're not just making silly foodie videos to make you laugh, right? There's a whole process behind it. And so, the content marketing, if you come up with a concept and you create the concept, right? You create the content, and it piques interest, right? And then you can take that content and you can target it towards, people that, might want to do business with you. So that's what Culture is Food is creating for us. It's creating opportunities for us in the hospitality space where we can, execute management deals and create different restaurant and bar opportunities, in the future.
Yeah, and that's something that we're definitely going to be diving in here too. I feel it very soon. You're going to see more hospitality stuff from me and JC and the rest of the Culture and Cannabis team. We did 10 episodes while we were up there, which is honestly a little bit ridiculous. We had we went up there last Friday and we came back down today. So we were up there for a little under 6 days, and we did 10 episodes, which is honestly ridiculous. I mean, 2 of those days we were traveling, so realistically we were only there for 4 days, and we cranked out 10 episodes. And shout out to Chuck. I gotta give a quick shout out to Chuck. I mean, without Chuck, majority of this shit wouldn't be happening. And I really appreciate everything that he's been doing for us. And shout out to Joy. I mean, Joy kept us on track the whole time we were there. Yes. So those team trips are just so important. And for me, I've realized that team trips are important just with past companies and how important it is to have a schedule or an itinerary. And so if you're going to take a team trip, make sure you're building that out and make sure you're thinking about what everyone wants to do, how you can build everybody into that itinerary. And I think we did. I think we were able to get everyone. I think we worked nonstop. And then while working nonstop, we were able to have a little bit of fun and something that everyone wanted to do, right? I think, Chuck we got to go get Chuck a skateboard. I mean, for you, we had fun all weekend. I mean, that's having fun for us. Yeah. I think Joy got to check out a bunch of places. We got to stay an extra night in Tahoe. So I think, you got to have that balance, right? You can't just be all work when you go on these work trips. You have to have a little fun. And that just builds camaraderie. I mean, the Culture and Cannabis crew is already super fucking tight. I mean, ride or die. But I think it's different when you're able to see them when they go to bed and when they wake up in the morning, because it makes you understand them better. And so I think for me, I understand, JC a little even better now. I mean, me and JC are together every single day for the most part, talking on the phone every single day. But they just, I see when you wake up, I see you go to bed. I now know how you act in the morning, act at night. And so that will help me adjust to communication with you. That will make things even more smooth than it is already right now. Yeah. And I think that's so cool about like going on those types of team trips, because you're team building the whole time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's important, especially when you have partnerships in business, right? It can get really complicated, and your business relationships and personal relationships are very important, right? And because at the end of the day, business, you might think you're doing one thing, you might think that you're selling cannabis, or you might think you're selling T-shirts, but at the end of the day, it's all about relationships. It's all about how you interact with people, how you react to adversity when you're out there on the field building your brand or business, and that's what matters, right? And if you can spend time with your teammates and really get to know each other and express each other and get connected on a level like that, it makes things for a lot better.
Yeah, and I think it's just more like, you know, not to say that I didn't have everyone's back beforehand, but it's just like, it's like now you especially have these people back, right? Mm-hmm. Because now you just know them on a little bit of a deeper level. Because usually, you know, we're on from when we wake up till we go to bed, but there's some time between you getting home and stopping working with your family and relaxing. You get to see that person unwind as a human being, and I got to see JC unwind this weekend, and I love seeing JC unwind. JC unwinding is half a bottle of the happiest hour and some Impractical Jokers, which I love the Impractical Jokers as well. You know, we had a good time. We took a lot of funny pictures. We were laughing the whole time. I think we only had like 1 or 2 fuck yous the whole trip, which I think is like a new record for us. And I think that's another important thing too. Me and JC have talked about it. I don't want to have a partner I can't be comfortable with to tell them to fuck off. Yeah. And I think that's important. Not that you don't want to create animosity. Mm-hmm. All right, let me make this very clear. I think it's more of, yo, you're annoying me. Yeah. I love you. And we're doing great, but go fuck yourself right now and let me deal with this and call me in 20 minutes and we'll get it all cleared up.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it could be unique to us or guys like us, right? You know, and it's important to learn your partner's, you know, love language. But I mean, here at the end of the day, you know, you're going to argue with your partners, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's, you know, decisions are being made, right?
Of course.
And so, you know,
and it's like we're, you know, I tell JC all the time he has two significant others, Joy, who's his girlfriend, and me, who's his boyfriend, and it's realistic, right? Because you know, when he's not talking to her, he's probably talking with me, and we're trying to raise something. We're trying to raise a business, which is essentially like trying to raise a child. So when you're doing stuff like that, like the JC says, you're gonna have to make decisions. Sometimes you don't always see eye to eye, but you always have to be okay with just moving on. And not bringing shit up from the past, because that stuff like gets so toxic and heated. It's like, yo, once stuff this happens, let it go and get him on the next one.
Yeah. Well, cool, bro. We're back in Vegas. We got a big week ahead of us. And,
we got some stuff going on. We are going to be doing the Drippin' at the Drop.
Drippin' at the Drop, baby.
On next Sunday, the 28th. We're going to be doing it at The Drop on East Flamingo. Mm-hmm. It's like Flamingo and Maryland Parkway, or like Flamingo and Eastern.
Just west of Eastern.
I'm sorry, I'm not super familiar with that area.
Basically Flamingo and Eastern.
Yeah, it's a great time. Shout out to Rob from The Drop. He's letting us use that parking space. It's going to be an awesome event. We're going to have some beautiful women from the cannabis industry out there washing some cars. Me and JC will be walking around with some short shorts, directing traffic. We're going to have some music, have some food, maybe some tie-dye stations. You can get all the exclusive stuff at The Drop. I mean, we were just talking today about the exotic pop.
The exotic pop.
And Rob has them all. I mean, he has the full lineup. He's got the Cookies brand. He has the most exclusive smoking and accessories in the game in Vegas. Yeah. Exclusively at The Drop.
Yeah, he's got our culture and cannabis papers there.
And he's got the culture and cannabis papers. So, I mean, like...
Best smoke shop in Vegas.
Name another smoke shop that has culture and cannabis papers. You can't, because only The Drop has them. So,
that's what it is.
And that's what it is. And that's going to be Drippin' at the Drop on next Sunday, June 28th, 12 to 4. It's going to be a great time. Benefit for Nevada NORML, Las Vegas NORML. And all the money goes back to them. And that helps them fight the good fight, which is for cannabis reform laws, such as DUI laws, social use permits, taxes, and everything else underneath the sun that has to do with the cannabis consumer and how they're affected by the laws implemented by the state of Nevada.
Yeah, they matter to us, and it should matter to you too.
100%. And I'm trying to think of anything else that we have to mention right now.
That's a wrap, brother.
That's a wrap. Manifest your fucking dreams. Don't forget to manifest your dreams. Write down your shit. I've always manifested that I wanted to do this, and I'm doing it today. And I was just looking at JC on the way home, like, yo, man, it's crazy, bro. I met you 30 fucking years ago, and now it's full circle. We just went back to Reno. Everything's going well. We're on this fucking winning streak. Make sure you find the wins in your day. Manifest your fucking shit, and that's it.
Yeah, get after it.
Get after it. Take immediate action.
If it's been placed on your heart, it's possible. You just have to show up every day and make it happen.
100%. And that's the episode. We're gonna keep it short and sweet today. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We're gonna be in talk soon. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Peace.
Peace.